Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP. Welcome to the game according to me. We talk about the world of sports on this podcast. And now we're talking about week 17 of the NFL season, what's going to happen first week of the playoffs and the college football playoffs. So let's get started right into week 17. We had about 7 playoff spots that were not submitted going into week 17. So there were a lot of games, a lot of spots up for grabs, and a lot of stuff that could have happened. Okay, I gave you all of the things last week. Let's just talk about some of the games that were meant to be, right? Like the Buccaneers, they wanted to submit that 5 seed so that they could play the NFC East team, NFC East champion. That happened. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons 44-27. Buffalo Bills, they wanted to get that 2 seed, but not at the expense of their players. And boy, they came out and they played on the Dolphins early in the first half, and they never looked back. 56-26, the Bills beat the Dolphins. Steelers and the Browns. Browns win, and they're in the first time in 17 years since 2002. Steelers did not play a lot of their starters, but made a game of it. Came down to the final last bit, a 2-point conversion missed. The Browns win first playoff game since 2002. Browns will face the Steelers. Browns win 24-22. In the NFC East, the player of the Cowboys and Giants, the winner would have a shot at winning the NFC East, depending on what happens later on in the night, and we'll get to that at the very end. The Cowboys lost. The Giants won 23-19, both 6-10. The Giants with an opportunity to win the NFC East. The Ravens win a spot 38-3. They beat the Bengals. The Colts had opportunity to not only make the playoffs, but then if Tennessee were to lose, they had opportunity to win the NFC South. They took care of business, beat the Jaguars 28-14. And then they let the fans stay and watch on the billboard as the Titans and the Texans came down to the final bell, back and forth, a drive down for a touchdown for the Tennessee Titans. And then the Texans came back and they scored and they kicked a long field goal. 38-38, all tie game. But then Ryan Tannehill threw a big bomb to AJ Brown. And then the new kicker that nobody knew the name of, Slot Guy or Slotnick or something like that. He came out and he kicked a field goal and it doinked from off the right one through the uprights for a victory. Tennessee Titans wins the AFC South 41-38. A game that I had a lot of hope in. The Cardinals and the Rams. What's her face was Jared Goff was out with a broken thumb, and Kyler Murray came in with a slight thigh injury, and he injured and he left the game with an ankle injury. So it was 2 backup quarterbacks between John Wolford and Steve Clifford or something like that. No, and the Rams were down for a little bit, but they came back and they made a game of it. They made more of a game of it. Their defense held, scored a touchdown on the pick six, and held the Cardinals to only 7. It was 18-7. Rams beat the Cardinals. So what did that mean for me and my Bears? Well, the Bears had to take on the Packers, and obviously it's not gone good for the Bears since they took over. I think since Brett Favre became the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, I think the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears have beat the Green Bay Packers 12 times. and Brett Favre came over the Packers in 1992. 12 times. I may be wrong about that, but that's what I think. I think the Bears. I think they beat. Uh, they beat. Um, they beat. They've beat Rodgers 5 times. They've beat and Favre 7 times. Yikes! I believe that, but no matter what it is, it's unacceptable as a Bears fan. that the Packers have had that dominance over you. And the real reason why is because of the quarterbacks. They get Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. We get Jay Cutler and Mr. Trubisky. Uh, Packers beat the Bears 35-16, but because the Arizona Cardinals lost, the Bears backdoor in. They will be taking on the number 2 seed. And one reason why the Packers had much to play for, they wanted that number 1 seed, and they won, and they got the number 2 seed. The Saints beat the Saints, who also vying for the number 2 seed. Um, they won, beating 33-7 the Panthers, and also vying for the second seed were the Seahawks. They had a very tough time with the 49ers, 26-23. Let me tell you something, guys. The 49ers, the only reason why the 49ers are not in the playoffs is because they got injured. They have a whole bunch of injuries. If they didn't have a whole bunch of injuries, it wouldn't be the Bears. It would be the 49ers. The 49ers would probably be 10-6, something like that, 9-7, and and they would be in. They would be in the playoffs with the with the Rams and the Saints and the Seahawks in that NFC West. That was a great. All 4 teams are really good teams, and hopefully they'll be good for years to come. And their division will be something special. In other games, the Chargers beat the Chiefs 38-21. The Chiefs had most of their guys, had all of their guys, I think, really. Um, Raiders beat the Broncos 32-31. Um, and then the Sunday night game was the Washington football team versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, like I mentioned, if Washington won, they were in. They won the NFC East. If they were to lose, if Philadelphia could beat the the football team, then the winner of the Cowboys and the Giants, which were the Giants, would win the NFC East. Well, it was a very close game, and in the fourth quarter, Doug Peterson decided to make a change at quarterback. He took out Jalen Hurts and he put in Nate Sudfeld. And he had told the announcers that he was putting in Nate Sudfeld because he had been there 4 years and he wanted to get him some run and wanted to get him some some time. And everybody has looked at this with a eyebrow raised. Were they tanking? It was tanking was trending on Twitter Sunday night because they thought the Philadelphia Eagles were tanking. Because apparently, if the Philadelphia Eagles would have won the game, they would have gone from the 6th seed to the 9th seed. Um, but losing the game, they stayed at 6, and so people thought there was tanking and everything like that. That they were trying to lose that game, and when you actually look at it, right, Nate Sudfeld actually played better than Jalen Hurts. In one quarter, Nate Sudfeld played better. His stats, or at least at the very least, his stats were better. Maybe he didn't play better. His stats were better than Jalen Hurts. He had better completion percentage. He had better yards per carry, yards per throw, everything like that. But it does look like that. Doug Peterson was trying to throw the game, and a lot of people had their ass on their back about it. They don't like it. They don't. They thought it was horrible, and they thought it was maybe it was somehow it was uncouth to the game of football that this would be happening. Um, Let me say this: I'm not going to make a judgment on whether or not they were trying to throw the game or not, or they were trying to tank or not. If that's what Doug Peterson, if Doug Peterson was trying to do it, if the organization was trying to do it, doesn't matter. I don't have an opinion on that. Here's what I will say though: for anybody to be talking about woe is the Giants, including themselves, who were out there on Twitter, Saquon Barkley and Darius Slayton and many others, Eli Manning. This is why we hate the Eagles. If you guys are out there, on Twitter. Win more games. Don't be 6-10, right? Don't be 6-10. There was a game. I believe there was a game earlier in the year, right? Let me see if I can take a big quick scroll back up. But I believe there was a game earlier in the year on Thursday Night Football. The Eagles might have won it, but it was the game where Daniel Jones fell on that long run. And let me even go see if the Giants um, lost that game. Because all you needed to do, Giants, was win one more game. Don't put yourself in a position to where you need help to get in, right? Yeah, don't put yourself in that position where you need hope to win the game. So so for Giants fans or Joe Judge or anybody, and we will see if Joe Judge's man is a word. Joe Judge came out and said that his team would never do things like that, and his team would never take the sanctity of the game for granted or whatever mess he was spouting out. Okay, okay, that's fine. If you're never going to do that, then that's fine. Again, I have no problem with that as well. In my personal opinion, I think I think that is probably the best way to go. I've never been one that has been for just sitting players, you know, just so you can do other things. That's something that I've never been for. Yeah, week 7, Thursday night football, right? Eagles won 22-21. You win that game against the Eagles, and that game on this Sunday doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. In fact, there's probably another game on Sunday night that they're having. They're probably it's probably some other game. It's even the Bears and Packers game. You know, maybe it's even the Bears Packers game is on Sunday night football instead of something like that. Because that probably means more. But who knows? So it's kind of ridiculous. I feel. Or maybe it's Titans in Houston. I don't know, whatever it is. But you win that game against the Eagles in week 7, then you don't have to, you know, worry about that the game Sunday night. So again, what they, what the, what Doug Peterson was doing, what he did, what he was doing actually, none of that matters to me. I have no opinion about it. You know, Was he tanking? Was he not tanking? Was he telling the truth? Was he really trying to get Nut? Does he not like Jalen Hurts, and he was trying to see what Nut Sudfeld had? One would say, well, if that was the case, then you would have just started Nate Sudfeld. Something like that, instead of starting Jalen Hurts, or you would have gave Nate Sudfeld the half. You gave Jalen Hurts the first half, give him the second half instead of the fourth quarter. But hey, whatever, right? all that all that all that's in the past. That's the one thing that for me is, again, you 6-10, win another game, That's how I feel about that. So now to this super wild card weekend, right? And I think I'm not sure how everybody out there feels about them expanding the playoffs. I was in favor of it for this exact reason, because of what we're getting this super playoff weekend. We're getting 3 games each on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, we're getting 3 games. Saturday, we're getting the Colts and the Bills at 1 Eastern. We're getting the Rams and Seahawks at 4:40 Eastern, and then we're getting the at night. We're getting the Buccaneers and the football team at 8:15 Eastern. And then Sunday, same thing. 1 Eastern, Ravens Titans. Um, 4:40 Eastern, Bears Saints. And then Sunday night, 8:15, Browns Steelers. And we've got some we actually got some a really good thing that I think they really with Washington, the 2 night games, Saturday night, Sunday night. So we got opportunity for some snow in Pittsburgh and Washington. So I love that. Some opportunity for some snow in Buffalo as well, but we're more likely to get snow at night than snow in the afternoon. Um, once we get into January, I remember hearing that somewhere. I remember hearing that somewhere. You're more likely to get snow during the nighttime in January and February, and then like in November and December, you're more likely to get snow during the daytime. In these cold weather cities. So I don't know. Maybe I remember hearing that somewhere. I can't remember where, but I just always stuck in my mind. And so so anytime I see a cold weather city in the NFL playoffs, and it's a night game, I say, oh wow, snow. There could be opportunity for snow. So obviously, you can just look back at that 2001 2002 playoff NFL season with the Patriots having the snow game against the Raiders and the tug rule and everything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating here. Colts and the Bills, I think, can be. It could be a good thing. The Bills are on a hot streak right now. They are so hot, so dominant offensively, defense, offensively, they are on fire, and defensively, I think they can hold the Colts down long enough. They don't need to score 56. I don't think. I think the Bills are going to take care of the Colts. Rams and Seahawks, third time they're meeting this year. I think each team won one game. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times. And we might have a couple of those things happening this year. So we will see. But I think the Rams right now, having John Walford at quarterback and being at home against being on the road, excuse me, against the Seahawks, even with that defense, I think it's unfortunately gonna be the end of the road for the Rams. The Seahawks will go on. And here, and then on Saturday night, Buccaneers and Washington. Listen, Washington has a good pass rush. Maybe they could get to Tom Brady. And with Washington's story of Ron Rivera being cancer and Alex Smith comeback player of the year, all of that's fine and dandy. I will be rooting for Washington. That being said, I think the obvious pick is that you go with the Buccaneers to win. Um, you give them the opportunity to go here and win, and we'll see what happens with all of that. Sunday's games: Ravens at the Titans. Derrick Henry in that game against the Houston Texans ran for 250, get over 2,000 yards. Um, Incredible. I think they're probably going to do something on the line, the same thing they did last year to the Ravens. They're just going to run the football as much as they can. Um, we'll see if the Ravens can make Ryan Tannehill beat them. And listen, I'm one of these guys. I'm a Ryan Tannehill guy. Ryan Tannehill can beat the Ravens through the air, and so I think any way it goes, I think that's going to happen. Listen, Lamar Jackson, he's fantastic. He's the second. He's the only. Well, he's run for 1,000 yards in 2 consecutive years. The only quarterback to do that. So he's already making history at that position. That being said, he is without a doubt he has regressed. Damn, I can't talk. It's kind of hard. I'm doing the podcast. You should be able to talk. He has regressed a little bit from last year's MVP season. And so I don't know if he can make the plays through the air to beat the Titans. So I'm going Titans beating the Ravens. Bears and Saints. Bears fan, love it. I'm glad they're in the playoffs. Gives me something to root for. I love it. Can they upset the Saints? Absolutely. Am I predicting them to do so? Hell no. Drew Brees, Mitchell Trubisky. That's all you need to know. Alvin Kamara. Let's see if he's back from COVID. Let's see if the Saints can get everybody else back. But and then they're gonna be down there in the dome. So I'm going Saints. And then Sunday night, Browns and Steelers. Again, we're in one of these situations where this is a division game, the third time they're playing this year. Um, I mentioned earlier, I probably misspoke because I was actually thinking about the Bears and Packers, because if the Bears win, they're gonna go and face the Packers for a third time, and usually a team doesn't beat. And when you have that team and they played twice already in the regular season, and if one team has won both times, usually you don't win that third time. But and that's what I was thinking about with the Rams. I mentioned that earlier, but they've split. The Rams, the Seahawks did, and so have the Steelers and Browns. They split as well. So this isn't one of those situations coming up. But I think it's going to be a fun game. Again, I think as someone who likes the underdog story, you're a root for the Browns, but I can't choose them right now. I have to go with Big Ben and the Steelers. But this it would be no shock if Sunday night the Browns end up winning the game and moving on to the divisional round. As I'm doing this podcast, we have breaking news. Trevor Lawrence has announced he is entering the NFL draft. This is something that most of us thought was going to happen. He spent 3 years in Clemson, won a national title. He is, without a doubt, the number one overall prospect in this draft coming up. Jacksonville Jaguars have that number one pick. It would be a very big upset if Jacksonville Jaguars do not take Trevor Lawrence, or if they trade out of that pick. Um, and to be honest with you, Jacksonville, that might be the smarter pick. Maybe you trade, because the Jets have two picks. The Jets have two picks. Miami Dolphins have two picks. Maybe you trade down, and you can still get, I think, a very good quarterback in Justin Fields, or even someone who's got great potential in Zach Wilson. If you would trade to the Jets or to the Dolphins, and maybe get more picks. But they've got bunch free agency, a bunch of other um, other draft capital. So even though it would be a smart move to trade out, I think taking Trevor Lawrence, getting that quarterback, getting that who's people are saying is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. I think without a doubt it makes sense. Uh, so breaking news: Trevor Lawrence announces he is entering the NFL. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, let's talk about the college football playoff. Um, two playoff games: Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, both blowouts. Both Alabama and Ohio State looked dominant. Um, Looked like the better of the two teams, and I think they were. Um, and we're gonna have on my birthday this coming Monday, the national championship game. Um, Make sure you guys are on my YouTube channel, um, youtube.com slash AJTRIP20, or search AJTRIP in the description bar on YouTube. And to find my channel, I will be doing a rapid reaction to the national championship game after it goes off um, on Monday. And of course, next week, next Wednesday, I will also do a little bit of recap as well right here on my podcast. So if you want immediate analysis, you can go ahead and it won't be analysis, but in my immediate thoughts at the very least, you can go over to my YouTube channel and find out that Monday night, or wait till next week, and I'll obviously we'll talk about it as long with everything else. But um, Alabama just, it's amazing. They went out there and they really did uh, put it on Notre Dame. And again, as a Notre Dame fan, I I think it was interesting that you needed to, you know, you needed to, you know, listen. Here's the deal, right? Here's the deal, right? Because a lot of people will, and I saw this on Twitter every time because a lot of people say, "When you stop putting Notre Dame in the college football playoffs," and Brian Kelly had to answer these questions. I can see why you're frustrated because this isn't a Notre Dame problem. Clemson and Alabama, they routinely route people, and this year Alabama almost they beat everybody by seemingly almost everybody by double digits. You know, and they scored 40 points on everybody. They didn't score 40 on Notre Dame. They scored 31 points. But they almost scored 40 on damn near everybody else. And Todd McShay said something in this game. He said something in this game, and I think he's right. When you talk about the BCS national championship game between Alabama and Notre Dame, where Alabama once again boat raced Notre Dame, boat raced. You could tell that Notre Dame was not in the lead, and from that, and it opened up Brian Kelly's eyes, and he said that what he needed to do was get more physical up front. Offensive line, defensive line needed to get more physical up front. And over time, he's gotten more physical up front to where the offensive line and defensive line can hang with anybody. He's put dozens of people into the NFL. Zach Martin, Nick Martin, Mike McGlinchey, and Quentin Nelson, many others on the offensive line, defensive line. I can't name a few. Jason, no, Jerry Tillery, and many others. Right. So they have that. They have that because that's what happened. They were out physical that day on the field with Alabama. But what has happened the last two times they've gone up against a team in the college football playoff? Clemson 2 years ago and Alabama today. They weren't out physical, but they were outrun. And they need to get speed on the edge. They need to get speed at the running back position, at the wide receiver position, and at the cornerback position. They need to get speed. So they need to get speed you can have so that you can hang with the receivers of teams like Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and many others, and that you can be explosive on offense. You can be explosive on offense so that where you can take advantage of that, physical offensive line, and when they make the hole, your running back goes right to, or your quarterback, or when your quarterback does a little bit of screen, that wide receiver is good and great. I'm not as good as it is to have those big receivers, and I think they have a place for it in the league. Big receivers are good. And they've got 6'3", 6'4" guys, and those guys are always good. It's always good. It should also have maybe a guy like Will Fuller. Will Fuller has that speed, but maybe you need two of those guys. And it would be great to have a guy who's 6'3" and can run like Will Fuller. You know, have that speed like Will Fuller. You're good to have that. So it's still and then there's the quarterback position. As I don't want to as if I'm downgrading Ian Book because I'm not. Ian Book he's the most winning quarterback in Notre Dame history. He is just like 30-5 for his career at Notre Dame. He was he was a damn good quarterback. But I think what we saw in the ACC championship game and what we saw at this is that as good as a quarterback, as a leader as he was, maybe he wasn't a quarterback, as if he couldn't, because once they made him play from the pocket, you could tell that there were things where he was just at the point where he would just do like this, and then if someone was there, he would just run. and that you can't have that. Um, you can't have that when you're playing against Alabama and Clemson, because there were times in that ACC game you saw it when that if he just would have stayed in the pocket and just looked at his things, there was someone coming open. There was someone coming open, and instead of trying to just run, run and make a run for it, if he just would have stayed in the pocket or even stayed a little bit longer, take that hit, but deliver the football, he would have had somebody open there to catch it. And I didn't see that much of Alabama, but I could maybe almost tell that it was almost the same thing. That once you saw blitzers come, he was trying to get out of the pocket, and they were doing this. So, and because like I said, everybody was talking about Notre Dame not deserving to be there, getting boat raced again in a college football playoff or a final game. But again, like Brian Kelly said, they're not going anywhere. They're going to continue to be in this playoff. And when the playoff expands to 6 or hopefully 8 teams, they're going to be in it every year. They're going to be in it every year because the Notre Dame they always are going to, well, not every year, but at least 3 out of 4 years. At least I think, because I think Brian Kelly will continue to grab those players. They need to find that quarterback. I think that's the biggest thing. We talk about speed and everything like that, and yeah, they need speed at running back and wide receiver and cornerback. But if they can get that quarterback who can make those plays from that pocket, you know, you know, that's that's gonna be the nail in the coffin, I think, for some teams. And then and listen, they will lose. They will get in the playoffs, and there'll be times when they will lose, but they're not gonna get blown out. They're not gonna get blown out. I truly do feel that Notre Dame is on the verge of catching up to everybody else, and there will be games when they will not get blown out anymore. And there will probably be games in the future where they will be doing the blowing out, and you know, not just the so and so teams. They will be blowing out the echelon teams. They will be blowing out top 10 teams. They will be blowing out teams like LSU and Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State and anybody else you would call a national power. They will start doing those things as well. So teams right now, people out there, they can make their jokes, but I think Notre Dame is on the come. As for the other playoff games, because so much I'm Notre Dame, because I'm a Notre Dame fan. As for the other game, it was very interesting to see, and it's one of the reasons that made me, feel like Notre Dame could beat Clemson at the ACC championship game. Because I thought Clemson, as good as Clemson was, I thought they were beatable because we beat them earlier. Notre Dame beat. I keep saying we again. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so forgive me for that. But sorry, not sorry, Ashley, because I'm going we. I'm a fan. Um, but I realized Notre Dame could have beat Clemson in the ACC championship game because I thought I didn't think that the linebacker that missed that game, who got kicked out of the playoff game for targeting, I didn't think Trevor Lawrence, even though as good as he is, and a few others that missed that game, I didn't think they made that much of a difference. Because the Clemson team still played very well against Notre Dame. They scored 40 some odd points into overtime. But I think it showed you that it's just Ohio State was ready, and Ohio State they had a lot of momentum from last year getting schooled by Clemson and everything else. Jabo Sweeney voted them 11th in the coaches poll. They had a lot of fire. Ohio State did. Justin Fields looked fantastic. He looked like he should be a number 2 overall pick. In the NFL draft. Um, and we'll wait and see about that. So see what the Jets will do with Sam Darnold. But Clemson was just there, and they gave it their all. But Ohio State was better. And now we got Alabama and Ohio State. Ohio State's a 9-point underdog. Um, For those of you that got the gamble, I don't know what to tell you because I think anything could happen. I think it can be a close game, in which either team wins, or I think it can be a game where either team blows out the other team. I don't think there is a way to go. I cannot make a prediction. But it should be fun. And once again, I will have a rapid reaction to it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP20. Make sure you are there when we go live on Monday night. Once again, thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. Make sure you go to patron.com. That's AJTRIP to become a Patreon. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, I will be opening it up to get your opinions on what you would like to see me do a video on for you on my YouTube channel. What would you like to see me talk about here on the podcast? Or what video games you would like to see me play on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. If you are a gamer, make sure you go over there, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Or if you just want to support me just from just from the podcast standpoint, you can do that as well. Go to anchor.fm/under triplet show. That's my page. And right there you can subscribe 3 tiers, 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99. It is you know whatever you choose to do. I appreciate any type of support, whether it's monetarily or just by you sharing this podcast and letting people know, whatever. I just appreciate anything you guys do. Thank you guys again so much for listening. This is your boy AJ Trip signing off. I will see you guys next Wednesday. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.